What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, as well as another video. So this video is going to make episode 7 in our FXRT clone build, and this is going to be the starts of the bodywork process. We got a lot of work to do to this thing, but when it is all done, that's where everything's going to start coming together, and this thing should look pretty sweet. I do have to take some parts and hit up the sandblaster this morning. That's what I'm going to be working on first. These things are peeling very, very badly, and they need a lot of work, so I'm going to run those through the blaster, clean them up really well. I also got to do some re-drilling of holes. If you watched the last video, I'm sure some of you might have caught it. I had the bag kind of backwards in the bracket, in the holder. That was just due to the fact that I wasn't really sure on how that thing fit, and it seemed to be that was the best fit for it. Then after looking around, I realized that the hinges are supposed to face outward, which honestly, in my opinion, is pretty ugly. But we're going to go and rectify that situation and square it away. I do have a tab I have to weld back on the other bracket for the other side of the bike. I got to take these things off. These are actually going to get blasted and then coated with the color that we do the bike in. But yeah, it should look pretty good. So, all right, well, I'm going to get set up here. I'm going to start tearing this thing apart, load these parts up, and we're going to start getting into this thing. So make it look all nice and shiny. So let's do it. And just like that, she's naked once again. All right, we got all the stuff loaded in the truck. We are ready to roll. This stuff has been sitting in the corner for a while. I actually had a family of spiders living underneath the gas tank, so I had to evict them real quick. But we're good to go here. So let's start getting going on this bodywork. All right, let's do it. Okay, now that everything is in primer, 2 coats of 2K primer, I'm going to go through here, cut these down, and start sanding them out. And sand them out with some 400 grit sandpaper and get them all ready so that we can start laying color on these things. All right, let's do it. all the primer is prepped and ready to go. What you didn't see on camera, I did it off camera, was I did go through and blocked all these things out with 400 after I went through with the DA sander. I did that just because it doesn't really make for good content. It's kind of long-winded, it'll take a long time, and yeah. So everything has been sanded. We've gone through, scuffed it all up. We are now ready to hang these things in the booth and start getting some color on them. So let's do just that. Let's go. Okay, so everything is hung. We're ready to go here. It's all been wiped down, tacked off, and should be ready for some color. I didn't realize I had as many parts as I did, but we got them all in here. So this half of the booth here, everything you see that's hanging here, this is all gonna get, well, everything will get a coat of sealer, but then this will get a couple of coats of black and clear, obviously. And then on this side here, everything else is going the color of the bike, which I'm gonna leave that as a surprise to the very last second. I'm gonna start spraying it on, then you'll know exactly what color this bike's going. So, all right, let me get all set up here, and we're gonna start sealing these things and making them shine. And just like that, we got one coat of sealer on. Most of these parts took it pretty well. A couple areas that I had an issue with, and these things are always fun. It's always fun to try to hit a moving target. So, but looks like it's got good coverage. Everything's decent. I'm kind of rethinking some of my methods I use to hang some of these parts, especially these right here. These things are going to be an absolute nightmare to get coverage. For one, it's you know, very thin and small, and you know, your fan pattern is wider, and it's just a lot harder to put that paint where you want it. So I had to dial it in a little bit, and yeah, it's going to be a struggle, but we'll get it. We'll get it. It should come out looking pretty good. So all right, I'm going to let this stuff set up for a few minutes and start loading the color into my gun. I'm going to start off by putting black all over all this stuff that we need to get done, and then we'll save the last piece for the last thing. So all right, let's do this. Looks like we got good base coat coverage on everything that is going to be painted black. So it is now time to move on to the color. All right, let me get this gun loaded up and let's start spraying. All right, 2 coats of base, and we have good coverage, and we should be ready to go here for clear coat. I know some of you are probably asking yourself, why Why gray? I don't know. I kind of like it. I mean, the bike's got that gray engine case, and we're going with a lot of black accents, and black and gray play off each other really nicely. I think this is going to make for a nice looking bike. So we're not going to be completely done yet either. I'm gonna do a little something to this tank after I lay the clear coat to it. So that'll really set it off. It'll make it look good. So all right, let's load up the gun, make these things shine. One coat of sealer, 2 coats of gray base coat, and 2 coats of clear. This stuff has been sitting overnight, and this is what we got. Everything came out pretty good, looks nice. We have a little bit of work to do this morning. This tank here, gonna go through. This is gonna get wet sanded. I have a decal that's gonna go on both sides of that, and then we're gonna drag it back into the booth, and we're gonna throw another couple coats of clear on top of that. But all the rest of these parts are good to go. These are all gonna get cut down, moved on out of here, and brought back so that we can start putting this thing together. But all right, let me get set up here, and we're gonna get going on this decal on this tank. So let's do it. Okay, we are set up and ready to start installing these decals. I'm sure a lot of you probably were like, why the heck didn't you just put it on the base coat before you clear coated over it, and then it would be encased underneath the clear? There's a reason for that. So we shoot water-based base coat here, and in order to stick one of these decals on, if you've ever done it, you can't just go ahead and just slap it on there. Chances are you'll never get it in the right spot. You might have air bubbles, something along that line. So in order to do it correctly, you need to use some application fluid. The application fluid will definitely wreak havoc with the base coat because, you know, water-based, it's very susceptible to damage. So I like to go through and put some clear on it, and then the next day we go back in and we just wet sand the top surface down. That allows me a nice clean slate to make sure that I get this sticker exactly where I want it before I put the clear back over it. So and again, I could have probably just put it on the top of the tank, but then you got to worry about the decal peeling down the road and everything, and you know, putting the clear over top of it, just it glosses it right up and makes it look really nice and gives it that factory look. It'll be just like the original decal was on the original tank. So that would be my reasoning for that. So I'm going to go through here. I got 2000 grit sandpaper. I'm going to wet sand this thing down, just looking to take that top surface off, and place these stickers on, and we're going to drag it back in the booth, blow another couple coats of clear over top of it, and it will look fantastic. So all right, without further ado, let's do it. Now that both decals are installed, all that's left to do is retape the top here on the filler, go through and retape the quick disconnect, wipe this thing down with a little bit of solvent, and tack it off, and let's blow a couple more coats of clear on it, and should be done. All right, let's do this. And 2 more coats of clear, and it is done. Looks pretty good. I will say, even after wiping it off and tacking it off, I still ended up with a few little small pieces of junk that came out from the corner of the decal, but I am going to go through and wet sand and buff that. So it is really hard to bury a decal in clear coat. You end up putting so much clear on there that it ends up being too much clear. But I think with what I have on there, I should be able to go in there, sand that, and buff it, and you'll probably feel the decal, you know, on the clear, but it won't be bad. It'll flatten right out. Yeah, I got a little bit right there too. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Anyway, this is gonna sit for a little bit, and once it's dry, I'm gonna load all this stuff up and start putting this thing together. Okay, we are safe and sound at home. Everything's been sitting in here for a good day or so, hardening up nicely. Paint is definitely set up good, so we're in good shape to move on with this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to wet sand and buff where these decals were or are. I'm going to start off with 2 and then work my way up to 2500 and then finish it off with the step 1 and step 2 Presta. Big fan of that stuff. Works real nicely. Never have any issues with it, so that's my method of choice. All right, let me get set up here and let's start making this happen. Looks really good. I'm really happy with it. All I wanted to do was take off that top surface and just be able to get rid of those imperfections, bring that shine right back, which we definitely did. This tank looks so much better in person than the camera is even picking up, but I would say that that is more than acceptable. With that, I would say the body and paint is completely finished. We're ready to go. We're going to start moving on to some of the other stuff. We have some wire that we have to lengthen. I got an air cleaner I got to throw on. We have the new exhaust we got to put on. We got to get all that done. Get the tank back on the bike, and then get it fired off. Make sure that everything is still in good running order before we start bolting some of this other stuff on. That's all going to be in the next video, so keep a lookout for that. But as of right now, I would say body and paint complete. And with that, that's going to bring this video to a close. And make sure you join me in the next video when we start the assembly process on this bike. We still have a lot of wrenching left to do to get it done, but once it's finished, we're going to have one head turner on our hands. I'm sure of that. You're not going to want to miss a single second of it, so do me a favor, give me that thumbs up, subscribe, as well as hit the bell for notifications so you know when more videos like this come out. Also, as a side note, I just wanted to say a big shout out and thank you to everybody that helped me hit 1,000 subscribers. It means a lot to me, and thank you very much. And as always, keep the shiny side up, and I'll see you guys all on the next video.